Welcome to Spiritual Insurgency. I'm Jason Lupo with my co-host today, just a guy, Jim Miller.
Hello, hello.
And Jim has been saying all week long this term American experiment, which I know has been used in a ton of different contexts for probably more than a century. But because it's been used in so many different contexts, I just want Jim to clarify. Like, Jim, what do you think, or what goes through your mind when you use the term American experiment?
Well, it was taught to me in the sense that we're different than any other country in the world in the aspect that the people are in charge. That's why it says we the people, not them the system, them the government, them the whatever, them the establishment. It doesn't say that. It starts off we the people. We're a people-based sovereign liberty freedom country, which is really pretty much supposed to be unlike any other country that's come before it. No kings, no nothing, a lot more just elected officials and representatives with the democracy and a whole mix of all types of things to keep and enforce the liberties, sovereignties, and freedoms of the individual, because that's the American aspect. That is the American experiment in itself, is that it is the individual sovereignty and authority that makes it a great, diverse, strong nation of we the people. So that's how it was taught to me, that your individualism is the strengthening part. There's a whole thing with the revolution, right? What was that guy? He came in and started training our soldiers during the revolution, and he was a good general, but there was something about whatever, and then they dishonored him and got rid of him, and then he was in America, and Washington found him. Because General Washington always had this thing about bringing out the strengths of individuals to strengthen the group of together to make it a stronger part, taking the individual strengths of everybody and putting that together. He had a thing with it. But this guy is like, look, man, I've trained a lot of soldiers. He trained soldiers in all kinds of different countries, I think Prussians and all kinds of stuff. And he's like, you go to other countries and train soldiers, even during the revolution, you say, do this. Okay. And they do it. Americans were like, why am I doing this? The instruction, the full fledged context of it was such individualism that we're like, why am I doing this? This will keep you alive. This will make you last longer. This will save your ammo. Aim twice, kind of thing, whatever. Shoot once. Be sure about your thing, learn how to use bayonets. Why? Why? It'll keep you alive. It'll make you last longer. So, and this is coming from an era that, I mean, people stood in lines to shoot each other like idiots because that was the doctrine of honorary, gentlemanly warfare for conquering stuff.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It made me think of the socialist experiment when you say American experiment. It took me back to Great Britain, and I, I I was looking and doing some research, and I come across this page with a ton of Margaret Thatcher quotes. If you don't know, Margaret Thatcher was the only modern prime minister to win 3 consecutive terms at the time. Ruled England from 79 to 1990. Margaret Thatcher. And she was known as the Iron Lady. She stood really strong against anti-communism. She was the leader of the Conservative Party. And some of these are really interesting because it really writes home about how great America's um, intent of governance really is. Now, since 1990, when Margaret Thatcher left office, um, we have departed from much of what the intent of the founding fathers was in this country, and we continue to depart from what the intent was. And that's why, not many democracies last 200 years, 200 plus years, and we're going on well past that.
Well, I was always taught it's a constitutional democratic republic.
It is a constitutional republic. You are 100% correct. This is not a democracy.
Yeah, so it's a hybrid setup. I was just I'm old. I was taught different things. I'm from a different era. I'm from a fist fight and beer era. I'm we pump our fuel, then we pay because we have dignity. We're proud when we pay for, invent, create, and build things and do our own stuff. I I'm the last of the era of cars, having a cool car attracted mates, women. You could flirt with a woman having a cool car and being a hard-working man. I'm the last of that. I'm the last of pump your fuel then pay. I'm the last of wave your flag high of what you are. I don't like blue shirts, whatever it is. And I will tell you this and be honest with you because I'm going to come at you from an honest directive, right from the point, and not sugarcoat or fluff or lie to you or be disingenuous. I would prefer freedom and honesty over some fake liking me and trying to take advantage and rob and steal from me type. We've lost a lot of the things going on. I can hate my neighbor, but it's still my neighbor and I'll treat him neighborly. There's things with it. I'm from the era of we don't let pedophiles, rapists, sex traffickers live next to churches, parks, schools, and daycares or around our kids. We hold stances. We take positions and points and morals and values and ethics, and they are hardlined. We want to be a good community. We will be a good community. We will resolve our issues with each other. If I have a problem with you about your weeds, I'm not calling the city on you. I'm going to do one of two things. I'm probably going to, because the way I am, my approach would be I'd probably bring the weed eater or pull the weeds and weed eat them for you and be like, hey, man, I know you've been working a lot. I didn't want you to get in trouble. I took care of it for you. No problems. Just, if I'm laid up or something, shovel my snow or help me out when things come or, be a community. We don't need the system to do these simple things. We can handle it ourselves. The system and law enforcement, all stuff, that's for rapists, murderers, traffickers, all the bad stuff, the big things, not neighborly little things. We deal with stuff on our own level.
So if you are following this show and you're following the Jim's trending topics, American Experiment was one. The other one was pump and pay. I mean, tell me what you mean, because you've used this term now several times over the last week. Tell me what you mean in terms of the implications that you see in society to the shift of how you pay for gas and why that keeps popping up in your head.
Because nowadays we lock up socks, hair products, detergents. You have to get somebody to come unlock a case for you to purchase with your money. So you spent all your time getting some nickels. Spend all this time getting money, getting your Chuck E. Cheese tickets at the end of the day. And you go to the prize counter and you're wanting more than just a damn eraser. But to even get the damn eraser, you have to go ask somebody to unlock the cabinet, to get the eraser, to bring something, and then wait longer. And then you get to go to a self-checkout that's got somebody overflooring and hovering over you like you're going to steal. We pumped our fuel and then we went in and paid for it. We had enough dignity, enough sense of community to just do the right thing. I work hard. I pay for my stuff, and I'm very content that is what I do. It's like the era of all this stuff. Every time there's a natural disaster or something now, what do you see when people talk nowadays on the TV or the news or the interwebs, the Tubin Ubins, the Twitter X wives, the Instagram crackers, the face pages? What do you see? I'm calling on the government to come out and da-da-da and help with this. You go back not that long ago, and you see people, and they're like, hey, I'm calling on our friends, our neighbors, our churches, our schools, our families, our communities, neighboring places. If you guys want to help us fix and rebuild because a tornado, an earthquake, a flood, a tsunami, a hurricane, whatever it was. It's the same thing with politics. They'd elect people. These are your representatives, what they used to say. Now they go, here's your leaders. I wouldn't trust these people to lead me out of a wet paper bag, for crying out loud. Same thing with the illegal stuff. It used to be illegal aliens. Now it's undocumented immigrants. The verbiage and terminology and the lack of what we do and having just dignity, being good people in the community is done. It's dead. I can't go grab detergent without someone unlocking detergent for me. They got $6 bottles of wine at the Walmarts now. Locked up, $6 bottles of wine. You got to push a button, get somebody to come up and open up a $6 bottle of wine from a case. I don't drink wine, but the girls in the family do. You have to go get a specialist to come unlock a thing for you. You can't fix a handrail at your house on a stairwell without a permit. This is dumb. We are a very capable society. They teach the kids too in school now. Be scared of taking a challenge. You might fail. What? Failure was the process to success. You would try and learn and be like, 2 out of the 30 things worked, and you'd build off that and keep going and going. It's just not my world, man. I'm just overworked and overtaxed in it.
So I want to return back to this these Margaret Thatcher quotes.
Yeah.
Here's the first one. It is good to recall how our freedom has been gained in this country, not by great abstract campaigns, but through the objections of ordinary men and women to having their money taken from them by the state. In the early days, people banded together and said to the then government, "You shall not take our money before you have redressed our grievances." It was their money, their wealth, which was the source of their independence against the government. I mean, this is sounding like, you know, Margaret
Very
Thatcher sounds
American,
like a great American, even though was the leader and the prime minister of Great Britain.
right?
I mean, but to think like, okay, she left office in 1990. We are 35 years post Margaret Thatcher in Great Britain, and what have we seen happen? More socialization, more nationalism, more nationalization, more um, less freedoms for the people of Great Britain, higher taxes, more socialist welfare. Definitely did not stick with the Margaret Thatcher ideals that they voted for 3 consecutive terms.
Yeah, no, I agree with her on a lot of stuff. I don't agree with everybody 100% of the time. None of us do. That's just the way it is. But they do. So your money is nothing more than a token of your time. And if the system, the establishment, the government's not doing it wisely and wasting it, they're wasting your money, which means they're wasting your time. And your money is the path to freedom, individualism, sovereignty, and your personal authority to do what you want to do with your little piece of dirt that you sacrificed a lot to get, to have your own little place to live and do your own thing and your own vehicle for transportation or work or whatever it is. You don't want nobody telling you what to do with your stuff and your earnings all the time. I mean, take registrations and insurances. We're forced to pay for insurances now as a law. I am forced to purchase a product, or I can get a ticket, be prosecuted in court, or even go to jail if I don't have car insurance, homeowner insurance, this insurance, medical insurance, blah, 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 or a fee or a fine for it. And the new thing with the modern era is, what do they do with the system? You know, taxes had to be voted on, so they do fees now. Oh, it's a fee. It's a convenience fee. You want to use your card to pay your property taxes to get those points or those cashback things? Well, we're going to charge you a 2.3 or 4.5 or whatever percent fee for you processing things of your own to pay for your own stuff already. It's ridiculous. A car registration. How many times has the tax has been paid on a car already? This is dumb. It's just a dumb era. And you make me pay insurance? Insurances were more competitive when it wasn't forced upon you as a law, because they had to be competitive because it was a choice for you to purchase the stuff. And it's very un-American and very unconstitutional to make you pay for any form of insurance, to force you to purchase a product under law. It's so un-American, it makes me want to vomit.
So, going to the second quote, Margaret Thatcher.
Or the second quote.
The second quote. I got a couple of them. The philosophical reason for which we are against nationalization and for private enterprise is because we believe that economic progress comes from the inventiveness, ability, determination, and the pioneering spirit of extraordinary men and women. If they cannot exercise that spirit here, they will go away to another free enterprise country, which will then make more economic progress than we do. We ought, in fact, to be encouraging small firms and small companies because the extent to which innovation comes through these companies is tremendous. This is true all throughout the globe. And we've even seen it in the United States. I mean, there's a reason why so many companies and corporations have their corporation placed in states like, what is it, Delaware? Like these low state income tax, low corporate tax states. And we see things like Tesla moving away from California, many technology companies moving away from California into places where it's cheaper for them to conduct business, and therefore they can put more money into innovation. I mean, this is common sense economic principles that if you make it unreasonable for any company to manufacture here in the United States, they're going to move their manufacturing outside of the United States. And that's what we saw happen. And so Trump's trying to move that back. But what's your take on this?
Well, look, it's not just so everybody always gets like the corporations need to pay more and this and that, and they will tax them more. You know what? You're not actually taxing the corporation. Actually, most corporations, I think it's like 98% of all corporations, are little mom and pop shops like me that are just trying to protect our personal assets because it's a legality type thing that if someone tips over a vending machine on themselves, that I could lose my house from being sued. If someone's trying to rob me nowadays or break into my stuff or my work stuff or the garage for getting to vending machines or tires or something. So you're not doing anything. And then the bigger ones, the big corporations, the big giant, national or international corporations, you just pay it at the register. You're just playing yourself. Look, innovation and stuff, even the small time stuff to get some new things up. What was Henry Ford? He efficient. He didn't invent the assembly line, but he made it very efficient and affordable to go. And he treated his working people good because there wasn't a bunch of regulations on it. He was inventing things. He invented the 40-hour work week and all this and that. He did because he got a chance to do it. He wasn't regulated into things. I mean, you take a lot of this stuff, the government gets involved, it makes it worse. Look at the Rockefellers with the oil stuff. Oh, we got to break up the monopoly, right? That's how that whole board game got developed, because all the industries, the captains of industry back when, before there was regulations. He made more money when they broke up his monopoly and splitting up into companies because he holds vast shares. His family owns vast shares at Exxon and Chevron and all these other Castrol, whatever the heck, all these big oil companies. So letting people out of the box and just to innovate and try to rise from the dirt instead of regulating them on things, you will get better products and better things and better services. I think, personally, the American way, with less regulations and more affordable and readily available innovations in products and services.
Well, and we forget, I think the vast majority of Americans forget that their jobs are corporations. And corporations know how to spend money. I mean, you're never going to see, I'm not going to say you're never going to see, because there's probably plenty of corporate waste. And Elon Musk proved that when he bought Twitter and eliminated 40%, I think it was 40% of the staff, and nothing changed. Like, they were still fine. So there is plenty of corporate waste. But you're not going to see 7 guys standing around one shovel, like we've constantly said.
I was going to sash jobs.
Yeah.
The ambassador of carrying the paper from here to there. You're like, why?
Yeah, the Department of Transportation has long wasted American taxpayers' money over and over and over. Here's another one. Our challenge is to create the kind of economic background which enables private initiative, private enterprise to flourish for the benefit of the consumer, employee, the pensioner, and society as a whole. I believe we should judge people on merit and not on background. I believe the person who is prepared to work hardest should get the greatest rewards and keep them after tax. That we should back the workers and not the shirkers. That it is not only permissible, but praiseworthy to want to benefit your own family by your own efforts. I mean, my gosh, I wish we lived by this. This is very biblical, by the way.
Right.
Extremely biblical.
We've departed from that significantly. All right, so everybody knows there's words tattooed on my hands, and if anybody's ever wondering what they say, it's just a keen reminder. It says earn on the inside, and then life, and then it says take, hate, and then also when I'm getting paid for doing all my work, I take it with my earn in hand. So it's just a nice reminder of me going through things to remember, because I'm one of that small percentage in the country that hasn't collected welfare, food stamps, medical, government assistance, any of this crap and nonsense, because I have enough dignity. And I'm not saying there's some people that don't need it. Divorces, medical things. There's things for it to be temporary, but it's not supposed to be a lifestyle, all this stuff. There's a thing that I never, ever forget with a lot of things in life, and I think most people have forgotten it too. Everybody wants what you have. Your cell phone, your car, your wife, your kids, your money, your house, your land, your dirt, your little bit that you got, your shoes, your clothes, whatever it is. They want your stuff, but they never want the work, the effort, the labors, the sacrifices it took to get it. They don't want the hardships to get what you got. They don't want to know that you didn't eat for days, or maybe you just had ramen, or you skipped a bunch of meals, or you took care of the rest of the family while you dressed like crap and were looking dirty and gross, treated like trash, and you didn't eat, but your family was clothed, warm, housed, and fed, and you took care of everything for them. They don't want the work part. They just want the earnings, not the earning. So we've departed from all this just so far off. It actually kind of disgusts me, because we've lost the meritocracy aspect, that if you're up to willingly learn and do better and become better and work and do the labor for it, we've turned it into nothing but college. We turned it, or you better go to college. To learn what? Some overpriced crap from a dude that couldn't do it or a lady that couldn't do in the real world for the most part? So I can't do it, so I'm gonna go teach you how the book says to do it. And if you depart from the book or have an independent thought out of the box, you're a problem. You'll be reprimanded. So it's do your own thing, think for yourself, ask questions. It's okay to be cynical and skeptical of things. It's okay to be angry about things too, but just be productive with it and put it in that rage and that anger and that cynicism and that questioning part to being productive and learning. So these things, put them in a productive sense, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having that.
All right, here's our last Margaret Thatcher quote before we go to break. I place a profound belief, indeed a fervent faith, in the virtues of self-reliance and personal independence. On these is founded the whole case for the free society, for the assertion that human progress is best achieved by offering the freest possible scope for the development of individual talents, qualified only by a respect for the qualities and the freedom of others. For many years, there has been a subtle erosion of the essential virtues of the free society. Self-reliance has been sneered at as if it were an absurd suburban pretension. Thrift has been denigrated as if it were greed, the desire of parents to choose and to struggle for what they themselves regarded as the best possible education for their children has been scorned. My gosh, it's like she predicted the future of what was about to take place across the globe. I mean, this is Margaret Thatcher standing on, I mean, this is like the original Trump OG.
Right? No, whatever you think about any of it, she's really saying that, man, it's crazy hearing it come from a Brit with the modern era of all this nonsensical, too much government, too much system, less individuals' decisions and stuff without permission from the system type of thing. So it's almost absurd that she's British saying things of this nature because the old bitter British, with the Americans, like, oh, da da da. She's right. Being thrifty is not bad. You're just a dog trying to save a bone. You're using coupons. You're getting the best bang for the buck because it's your time. Once again, money's a token of your time. And you're trying to make it stretch and last and go the furthest it will. Wanting what's best for your children. Come on. You make the decisions because your religious belief, ethnic groups, heritage, yada yada, so on and so forth, your freedoms in view. Like me, I want my kids to be so successful that my successes are the equivalents of my children's failures. In the modern era, this is not looked at very well. It's like, why would you want that? And I was like, because I want them to be great. I want them to be better than me. I don't want my kids to be like me. I don't want any of the kids in the family to be like me. I want them to be better than me. To leave things for them too. I mean, for a Brit, once again, this is like the most American sounding things. You will make the decisions, spend your time and your money more efficient. You will figure out how to innovate and become things. From adversity comes innovation. You will figure it out because you have to and you want to. You don't need permission from a system to make things better or to fix things. That's what all this permitting and laws and rules and code and all this crap. The position of the government is to what? Infrastructure, security, and then what? To enforce your rights, your liberties, your freedoms, your sovereignty. It is diverted from that so much. It is insane. It is crazy. I run for political things. I hate politics. I do not like politicians. I don't like polititalk or execu-speak. I speak very plain. This is wrong. This is right. What is with this? This is stupid. This is ridiculous. This is robbing people. You're taking their money. It's inefficient. It's a 10-hour meeting for 10 minutes of work. We've lost the efficiency and the aspect that it's supposed to be a community type things, even with government. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it. I don't like it. But look, you want it better, be better, innovate, fix things yourself. You don't have to have permissions to be a better person.
All right,
Just
so
morality.
as we go to break, I want to leave you with one more. I lied. There's one more here.
Ooh.
We're not going to commentate on it, though. We're going to leave you to ponder this one. Some socialists seem to believe that people should be numbers in a state computer. We believe they should be individuals. We are all unequal. No one, thank heavens, is like anyone else, however much the socialists may pretend otherwise. We believe that everyone has the right to be unequal, but to us, every human being is equally important. That is super powerful statement. And with that, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Welcome back to Spiritual Insurgency. I'm Jason Lupo, sitting here with my co-host for the day, just a guy, Jim Miller.
Hello, hello.
And we said we weren't going to commentate on this one, but, well, we're itching to commentate on it. So I'm going to read it again. This quote from Margaret Thatcher. Some socialists seem to believe that people should be numbers in a state computer. We believe they should be individuals. We are all unequal. No one, thank heavens, is like anyone else. However much the socialists may pretend otherwise, we believe that everyone has the right to be unequal, but to us, every human being is equally important.
Okay, so you always hear all this stuff about equality. You know what that means, actually? What it was supposed to mean? The equal opportunity to pursue a greatness. I'm not equal to a brain surgeon. I can't do it. I'm not going to be equal to one. I'm not equal to some farmer. I'm not equal to some therapist. I don't do the stuff they do. It's not that equality is not that. It's the equal opportunity to pursue your greatness. We're not all designed to be. We're not all designed to be rock stars, movie stars, whatever the heck it is. You might be the greatest mopper in the world. That leads to you having a multi-trillion or billion-dollar freaking custodial business, right? Cleaning or something along them lines. Your greatness might be different, but the whole thing is you're not supposed to be discriminated against for just being a person. There are plenty that aren't equal to you either, or me, or any of us regular, just average types, just a guy or just a gal types. There is not a single rapist, pedophile, sex trafficker, murderer that's equal to me. They are less than me and less than you. So equality is not what you've been sold. It's also so you can go participate and get the merit, the labors, the reward for all the earning and working and sacrificing you do. Because while you're sitting there sacrificing to have the few things for you or yours and your family and friends or people you care about, or even for yourself, is it really supposed to be equality that you're supposed to give those things to those that aren't earning or aren't doing anything or aren't trying to participate or aren't trying to be good people in the community or society? You're supposed to take your labors and give them to them. I don't like communism or socialism because that's their belief. You go work all day, get a paycheck, but you better start divvying it out to everybody that isn't doing. So while somebody's getting high and eating Doritos and Cheetos all day, playing video games, you're supposed to give everything you earned all day while you're sweating, grumpy, gross, tired, calloused hands, ripped open, bleeding, sweating half to death. You're supposed to give that labor to those that ain't doing. I'm good. No. No. Equality is not what they say. It's just like this thing with the equities? You know what equity is? That's your sellout point. How much money till you sell out and sell your morals, values, and ethics? That's what that is. So yeah, no, this lady, like I said, for being a Brit, is extremely freedom and American orientated, like no other I've ever heard. So to you, Thatcher, I don't have a hat on, but I tip the hat. Or a shot to you. I don't drink anymore. That's for everybody else's benefit.
Yeah, rest in peace, Margaret Thatcher. I mean, in this world right now where we believe that everybody has to be equal in every sense of the word, and this idea that everybody needs to go to college and everybody needs to look like this picture perfect idea of what a citizen looks like, standing up for trans rights and human rights and all this other stuff. It's very intriguing to see this statement. I think I'm going to use it quite a bit. We are all unequal. No one thinks heaven is like anyone else, however much the socialists may pretend otherwise. I love it. I mean, this is a phenomenal quote.
That screams of diversity, doesn't it? We always hear about diversity, and it screams of diversity if you really think it by definition as a sense of there's going to be different people, book smart people, street smart people, hands-on people, different people learning different ways, doing different skills. A fabricator, I'm not equal to a fabricator. I'm a cutter and grinder. I cannot weld that well at all. I am not good at it. So the skill level and this different specialties and stuff is what's mainly being spoken at about here. There are considered, that's why the title specialist, that's why it exists. But this is true diversity in the biggest sense of there are people greater and less than on different facets in society and in the community.
Yeah, it goes back to the America as a melting pot, learning from other cultures, learning from other individuals, not trying to integrate and just force everybody to be the same individual,
Sounds boring.
which would be boring, you know. But anyways, I want to switch gears for a second. So Ben Cohen, the co-founder of Ben and Jerry's, was among several protesters removed by Capitol Police during a Senate hearing at which RFK Jr. was testifying. They chanted, "RFK kills people with AIDS, and Congress pays for bombs to kill kids in Gaza." Cohen's company is known for backing progressive causes, and he joins News Nations to discuss. Let's go ahead and roll this clip.
Great googly moogly. I've eaten a lot of Ben and Jerry's ice cream in my life, but I got to tell you, one of the reasons I was always drawn to the company is that I respect people who use their business platform for political advocacy. I do. It's risky, and I respect it. And I've always respected Ben Cohen for what he does. Whether I agree with his politics or not is irrelevant. Today, he was among the roughly half dozen people that Capitol Police yanked out of the Senate hearing where HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy Jr. was testifying. They were chanting, "RFK kills people with hate, and Congress pays for bombs to kill kids in Gaza." His ice cream company is known for supporting liberal causes and candidates. Ben Cohen joins us now to discuss what happened and why. Thank you for taking the opportunity, sir.
How you doing, Chris?
Well, there's about two and a half inches of my midsection that belong to your company. I want you to know that.
Well,
but
I'm
I want to
honored,
talk.
and you wear it well.
I want to talk politics. What is it about Bobby Kennedy that you believe is worth getting arrested for?
It didn't really have anything to do with Bobby Kennedy. What it had to do with is that Congress has been cutting money for Medicaid, the health care for poor kids, and they're using the money they save doing that to bomb other poor kids in Gaza. And now, there's this, they're halting all the food aid that's going in, so they're starving the people of Gaza.
So, all right, let's talk Israel. Yes, I understand what you're talking about with Medicaid. We'll see what they do. It does seem that the Republicans are a little unusually cautious about the pain that they will feel if they mess with Medicaid, especially when they're adding to the defense budget. But Israel, yes, what's happening in Gaza is horrible. They just agreed to restart the aid, and I've been critical of the stopping of aid and how necessary it is. But don't you have to give some space for the fact that Hamas, a terror organization, is still holding 6 people just about, and that they need to give them back if they want to have high ground, don't they?
Yes, the hostages need to be returned, but that's no justification to kill tens of thousands of children, old people, mothers, fathers, people just like us.
Well, just like us, some, yes. Others are aligned with a terror organization. I'm not talking about the kids. I'm talking about the people who are on the ground, who are adults in Gaza. And if it were America and they had 59 of our people and they were a terror organization, do you think the United States would be doing anything different than Israel is?
Boy, I would hope they'd be doing something different, because what's going on in Israel right now is genocide with our bombs. The American people have become complicit in the genocide that Israel is engaging in. And if it weren't for us providing the bombs, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, they have a lot of their own weapons. You know that, Ben. I know you're very sophisticated about this stuff. But don't you believe that genocide, obviously there's a legal standard, but do you target things? Do you avoid things? Do you pace things? Do you allow any aid the way Israel has if it's really a genocide? We've seen what that looks like in other situations. It doesn't look like this.
Boy, it sure looks like it to me. I mean, let me think. All the hospitals have been destroyed. All the universities have been destroyed. The schools have been destroyed. The housing has been destroyed. And tens of thousands of people have been killed. And you can't tell me that they're all members of Hamas. I don't believe that.
No, I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that because it's not true. And there's been a ton of death of innocents on the ground. And it is horrible. I don't have an answer. I know that asking Israel to stop unilaterally when there's a terror organization committed to their annihilation that's holding 50-something of their people is an unreasonable request. But what is better than what's happening right now? How do you secure Israel, get the people back, and not have them using their military?
I believe that you need to treat the Palestinians decently. I think they've been mistreated for, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And I think that a two-state solution was the right idea. And I think Israel has been kind of shutting that out. But the major thing here is about a humanitarian disaster. People are being
I agree.
killed. Journalists are being targeted.
Well, that I don't know.
They didn't
But
do anything wrong. They're,
I agree that it is a
and the
humanitarian
US
disaster there.
is making it happen.
And there needs to be a lot more aid. Has to be a lot more aid. And I respect you raising your voice about it and using your platform. And you're always welcome here to do so. We don't have to agree for us to not be disagreeable, and you have a platform to make your argument. I appreciate you doing it, Ben.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Chris. Thanks for talking about it.
All right, I do want to start by saying it's nice to see a Chris Cuomo that is somewhat reasonable. Ever since he left CNN News, it seems like he's shifted center, if not almost appearing more like a conservative in this modern day Democratic Party.
War and conflict's not good. The whole history of the world is based on conflict and conquering and raping and murdering and bombing and exploding and killing and all this stuff. Everything in the modern era right now. So look, I personally get a little annoyed when I hear rich, hippie, ice creamy ding dongs that have enough money probably to do whatever needs to be sending food over to a thing, talking about things, or I'm a rich person protesting from my my tower of ivoryness, if you will. It's like, all right, look, put your money where your mouth is then. You got enough money for a plane, I'm sure. You got enough money for fuel, and you got enough money for a bunch of food. Shut up and go there because you have the means, is my personal opinion on it. Another thing that I like to say is I've been a big advocate for if there's going to be conflict of nations in the modern era, I don't care. I want to start seeing these leaders of the nations out there with some fucking gloves on in a damn boxing ring, MMA style, fist fighting, dueling. I don't care. You want to eliminate all the stuff with it? Let's see if any of these leaders really have gusto to be pulling triggers if they got to go pull them themselves. Because that's how I feel about it at this point. I don't care. Make it, if you want to be super fluffy about it because it's 2025 and it's a fluffy era, they can have a Street Fighter 8 competition or Mortal Kombat. Whoever wins the best of 5 matches gets what they want to get. Okay? They can Rochambeau for it. I don't care. But they need to probably have the conflict before it turns into a national conflict, in my opinion. And I think that would be a much better resolution for making a much more peaceful world. And it would bring some of these people a lot less wanting to pull the trigger on conflict every time. Israel, Gaza, dude, that's thousands of years of all kinds of crazy thing. Hamas can kick rocks. I don't negotiate with terrorists. I don't like terrorists. I do not want anything to do with terrorists, especially if it's such a filthy thing. And to justify anything they're doing and going, oh, it's fine because, you know, they're part of this or that. They're terrorists. Screw them. That's why.
I feel like we need Aaron for this conversation because he would have gotten a kick out of that George Bush quote right there. He would have given us the best Bush impression he had. And as you guys may know from following the show, he's pro-Palestine in a lot of respects, and he's moved the needle a little bit for me as well. I agree with a lot of what Cuomo said. I mean, at the end of the day, Israel is trying to stop the Hamas terrorism organization. I truly believe that. How they're doing it is is what is up for debate. I mean, I don't know as though there's very many Americans that are pro-Hamas.
I would hope
If
not.
there are, and there are some, and we've seen them on the college campuses. But most Americans that are protesting this are pro-Palestine from a standpoint of making sure that we're not killing the innocent that are sitting there. And they are still holding tons of hostages. In fact,
Yeah, but hasn't a lot of the Israeli thing to try to eliminate a lot of the innocents and killing children and stuff been like, hey, this is the quadrant and this and that, and then the Hamas has been like, oh well, we'll just be there and be underneath the hospital, underneath the school, around a bunch of kids, around a bunch of doctors and nurses, or a bunch of women and stuff, and oh screw you, if you got to get us, you got to. So
I make that argument to Aaron every time, and I do, and I still stand by it. Like, there is an element to where if you have harbored these terrorists, allowed them to take shelter underneath your schools and your hospitals, there's not much that you can do if you're trying to eliminate this terrorist organization.
Who is the leader?
They warned them. They warned them ahead of time. They said, "Hey, we're bombing this neighborhood. Hey, we're bombing this. You know, get your innocent out." They warned them every step of the way.
Right? Who's the leader of Hamas? Who's the ding dong in charge of that operation?
Well, there's several.
Oh, there's several leaders.
Yahya Sinwar is the
No,
not anymore. He was killed on October 16th.
Oh, good.
Okay. I don't know who the present Hamas leader is. There's plenty that have been killed in that leadership realm. Not an expert by any stretch of imagination, but I do make that argument that you just made, and I do stand by that.
I don't want to see a bunch of kids killed and women murdered and old people killed and mutilated and murdered. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody's saying that. That's the part with it. But a Ben and Jerry's rich ding dong, I mean, go fly a plane over there. You go send some food and stuff. What are you gonna do? Solve it with ice cream quotes on your stupid ice cream? I don't eat Ben and Jerry's. I will give old Benji a little bit of credit. At least he takes a stance. I will give him that. That's at least a respectable aspect of him. Because for crying out loud, you don't have nothing if you don't take a stance or put a line somewhere with something. So we'll give him that. But he's got the means and stuff. And if he wants to do some stuff, why doesn't he open up something and do something about it? Because he's got the funds. He's got the means. He's got the availability. He can do something. Let's not lie. He's not like he's poor. He's not like the rest of us day to day, you know, week to week, month to month, trying to just eat and survive and live nowadays, even here in our country.
Yeah, I want to shift gears a little bit, still stay on the RFK topic, but I want to pull up this video. Let me see if I can find it here. Give me a sec.
The fact check is so dumb because the fact check says it's not correct. They have the same ingredients except for these harmful chemicals. Look at this. Mr. Kennedy has singled out Fruit Loops as an example of a product with too many artificial ingredients, questioning why the Canadian version has fewer than the U.S. version. But he was wrong. The ingredient list is roughly the same, although Canada's has natural colorings made from blueberries and carrots, while the U.S. product contains red dye 40, yellow 5, and blue 1, as well as butylated hydroxytoluene, or BHT, a lab-made chemical that is used for freshness, according to the ingredient label. That is the dangerous chemicals that are banned in Canada that we're trying to get rid of in America, and that of RFK. They're literally saying he was wrong, but he was right.
Yeah, that made my brain hurt just reading that.
That's
it was just like
It's that thing. You need to make sure you, after like you play that and we talk about it, but you need to make sure you got the little clip of what was it? Billy Madison. After everybody hearing this, we are all stupider, less intelligent from reading it. Assuming that no point have you said anything intelligible.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Yes. This is a little old because this was actually in November, but the reason why I bring it up is because every step of the way, anything that RFK is doing right now is just being attacked, and this man is just being slandered. And it's like you throw out all logic and reason. I mean, the RFK talks about the difference in Fruit Loops between the United States and Canada, and New York Times checks it and says there's no difference in the ingredients other than all of the older
poisons, all the processed, synthetic, man-made chemical stuff. There's nothing different but the poison itself. All right, guys. No, it's the guy's trying to make it healthier, so we have a stronger, healthier nation of people that isn't giving them any deficiencies, mental or physical, or any kind of, health issues. Yeah, if you want a strong condentation, you want a strong society, you want a strong community, and this guy wants it, I'm all about Bobby. I like when he talks, too.
So we talked on the other show, Faith, Family, Fitness, Freedom, about RFK going after the GRAS loophole that is generally recognized as safe under the FDA guidelines. Basically allows these food conglomerates to put in their food anything that they want, and because it's generally recognized as safe. And so it means that basically they can put in these preservatives, these chemicals, these whatever. These are the same people that took the tobacco industry, made cigarettes extremely addictive with chemicals, and now they're being allowed to do that with food.
How many news organizations do they own too?
Probably quite a bit. And actually, so one of the attacks that RFK said prior to the election, and I think he's mentioned it since, was he talked about wanting to eliminate the ability for pharmaceutical companies to advertise, because that's how they're controlling the media. Because if you think about it, if you see all of those commercials for whatever drug it is, right now it's probably Ozempic, but they're paying so much money into these news organizations and advertising that they have pull. And when you give pull to the news media,
be good to our sponsors.
Yes.
Crap, I got you. Yeah, don't talk bad because Ozempic pays us a lot of money to have a commercial on here. But don't worry, Ozempic causes nosebleeds, seizures, aneurysms, heart attacks, bleeding from the lungs, and you might get diarrhea.
is that it?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's always that.
Just making that up?
It's probably accurate, actually. But
It probably
anytime
is.
you see these drug commercials, it's all it says. Might cause a nosebleed. You might be depressed. You might need to see a doctor after taking this stuff. And it's like,
And you may die.
doctor? Yeah, you could die from taking it. And you're like, I think I just prefer to be a little uncomfortable.
Well, the funny thing is, so here you go. Common side effects of Ozempic. This is from the Ozempic website: nausea, diarrhea, stomach, abdominal pain, vomiting, constipation. But if you look at all of the information that's coming out that is not on this website, there are people with some pretty crazy side effects. I mean, you got to go down a little bit. Inflammation of the pancreas, changes in vision, low blood sugar, dehydration leading to kidney problems, severe stomach problems, serious allergic reaction, gallbladder problems,
Arms fall off. Who knows?
food or liquid getting into the lungs during surgery or other procedures that use anesthesia, or deep sleepiness, deep sedation. This is just, but they mention the most common side effects: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, constipation. But even this other side effect list that's on the Ozempic website still does not cover all of the side effects that we have seen reported on from people that took Ozempic.
I don't know. I do know. It's just a bunch of propaganda and selling you some crap to try to make you happy. All right, it's another happy-go-lucky pill for whatever stupid reason to profit off of you not having a good time and trying to give you the false sense of safety and feeling good all the time. They always try to sell you on that and charge you some money for some garbage. So don't buy it. Quit getting into it. That's all I got to say about it. I think Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr. is on the right track with everything, and he's being real transparent with a lot of the stuff too. So that's why I like him being about it.
So President Donald Trump signed an executive order on May 12th aimed at lowering drug prices to better match what other countries charge. In a White House press conference ahead of his trip to the Middle East, he held a press conference alongside Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. He shared a viral anecdote about his friend getting drugs cheaper abroad, illustrating how high drug prices are in the U.S. nearly 3 times higher than 33 comparison countries, according to an HHS report. How the executive order will lower prices and by how much remains to be seen, as Trump tried a similar effort in 2020. In the meantime, here is what to know about Trump's fat shot drug story. In the press conference, Trump told a story about a friend who complained to him about the difference in drug prices between the U.S. and other countries. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. Highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. Trump said, he called me up and he said, President, I'm in London and I just paid for this dang fat drug I take. I said, it's not working, Trump told reporters. He said, I just paid $88 and in New York I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on? Trump recalled his friend saying. White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment if the fat drug Trump was talking about was Ozempic or another drug to treat diabetes that is also used for weight loss. But the boom in the drug's popularity has raised concerns that the U.S. is returning to an age of widespread body image issues and fat shaming. This from the Palm Beach Post author Kinsley Crowley. It looks like they took it from USA Today's network. I have an issue with this last comment. That the U.S. is returning to an age of widespread body image issues and fat shaming. My gosh, people, just be healthy.
Yeah, no, like I went from in my lifetime, I went from starvation to obesity's killing people, okay? Look, just lay off the Twinkies. Maybe 4 cases of soda a day is probably not the best thing, all right? 5 packs of cigarettes, probably not the best thing. Relax, be cool, eat a little better, be a little better. A pill's not the end-all, be-all. Have a little self-discipline. Have a little bit of dignity for yourself, not to be a fat, gross slob. Don't be having a bunch of freaking flop sweat and being disgusting, waiting for deep-fried crap at 7-Eleven. Maybe eating at the gas station's not the best option. Go ahead and buy some celery once in a while. Get a carrot. Buy a banana. Eat an egg. I don't know.
I just think we don't need Ozempic if we solve the food crisis that is in our country, which the food crisis is not a shortage of food. It's a shortage of food that's not packed with preservatives, chemicals, genetically modified. Like, we have a shortage of actual food in this country.
You know, part of something with this being in other countries and paying for medical stuff, you know, a lot of the pharmacies are a lot different in other countries than here, right? You don't, like, in a lot of other countries, you just like, hey, you know, I need this, and you can just go into a pharmacy and you can buy it. You don't need a doctor's note or whatever. They are almost the doctor at the pharmacy and just hand you stuff over the counter or go, it's in this aisle or over there, grab it and come up here and pay for it.
Yeah, I've got this fun story I always tell. But I was in Belgium cycling and racing and, you know, got hurt. My finger was torn up. I lost a huge chunk of skin. It started getting infected. Infection started traveling down my hand, and I walk into the local pharmacy in Oudenaarde, Belgium, which is a little small town, 60 kilometers outside of Brussels. And I walk into the pharmacy and I look at him and I go, I need something for this. And I just raised my hand and he gave me the drugs I needed. Now, what was interesting was one of them was he gave me these tabs. He said, hey, put these in as hot a water as you can stand. He said, put 2 of these tabs in as hot as water as you can stand. And you know, soak your finger in it for 20 minutes. I looked out at the bottle. You know what he'd given me? Chlorine tabs.
Okay.
Pharmaceutical chlorine tabs. I thought, man, this is freaking brilliant. You know, now I run pool management companies and we manage pools. And I just look at it, I'm like, that's freaking brilliant. You know, why don't we do that in the United States to try to take care of some of this infection? You know, the infection that takes place in our country. Like, why is the other countries using more common sense than we do in their systems? That's my thought. That's my fun story for the day. This has been Spiritual Insurgency. Thanks for joining us. Join us every Saturday at 10 a.m. and every day throughout the week. And we have started rolling our 24/7 live stream. Some of it is repeat content from the rest of the week, but you can find all of our new content on Rumble or YouTube. Thanks for joining us. God bless.
You want it better, be better.